Hi folks, Chris from Vic Radio Zone. Just a quick word regarding encryption on the Ambulance Victoria Talkgroups on the MMR Network. Okay, so it has happened. I started warning people around about March 2018 it was going to happen. And here we are, July 11th, pretty much encryption across 99% of the voice traffic for Ambulance Victoria on the MMR Network and their talkgroups. No real surprises there. There was a bit of a minor push for encryption from elements of Ambulance Victoria and Esther back when Ambulance Victoria first went to the MMR network, which was 15 years ago nearly, or thereabouts. For whatever reason it didn't happen then, whether it was a cost factor, I'm not too sure, but look, it didn't happen then, but here we are now, it's happened. Sometimes the wheels of motion in the government turn a little bit slowly, ain't that the truth? But look, it's here now. It's not the end of the world. If you're a serious hobbyist, you're going to find other things to monitor. I know there's a lot of people whose whole scanning interest really revolves around the emergency services organisations. Yeah, look, maybe it's just time to expand your horizons. Sell your scanner. It'll be a shame, but yeah, look, there's definitely other things out there, and it just depends on how serious you want to get into the hobby as well. If you're a real hobbyist, you're going to find other facets of the hobby to interest you, whether it be getting a bit more into SDR, whether you get into high frequency, shortwave, utility monitoring, whatever it might be. I think it's been a long time coming in regards to the encryption on Ambulance Victoria Talkgroups. Like I said, I was warned well over 10 years ago it would happen, and it's happened now. And unfortunately, within that 10-year period, there's a big boom in mobile phone-based apps, and people running streams and everything like that. It's done a real disservice to our hobby, in my opinion. My way of looking at it is, if one person goes out and buys a scanner and they run a stream and they have 20, 30, 40 people listen to that stream on a regular basis, that's 20 or 30 sales that a scanner manufacturer has lost. Okay, now eventually they're going to sit there and say, well, we're not selling enough units, so we don't have the money to do research and development, or if we do spend the money on research and development, we're not really going to recoup our costs, so we're just not going to bother about it. And we've kind of seen that to a degree a little bit within the scanner industry. So I'd rather support the manufacturers, support the hobby, and actually go out and buy a scanner. And I wish everybody that sat there and listened to the streams did the same thing, because maybe scanner manufacturers won't have probably forgotten about our local market to a degree. Uniden, to their credit, have released a USDS 100, which is a local version of their SDS 100 available in the US. So that's good. But yeah, I just think if they had a lot more money to spend on the research and development and trying to figure out ways to circumnavigate some things, and then maybe we'd be in a better position in our hobby. The other big thing about the streaming and everything like that was all the information that was going out over the airwaves, and then people repeating word for word or transcribing word for word on social media what they've heard, and various officers' names or certain individuals' names and things like that. There's nothing that annoys government entities more in regards to their radio systems is when people start transcribing word for word what they've heard on them, particularly those individuals that they feel don't really have a need to be listening to their systems. So yeah, we've probably done ourselves a massive disservice there, and that's probably one of the reasons why I've never been a big fan of running our own stream on Vic Radio Zone. I know quite some time ago on another site that I used to have involvement with, we did have that for a little while. Certainly didn't last long. There was reasons for that, but yeah, look, I've never been a big fan of streams. Like I said, I'd rather people go buy a scanner, program it up, listen to it at home, listen to it in their car, whatever, wherever they like to listen, and then just enjoy it for what it. I say for what it is, but now it's probably a little bit less now. Yeah, but when you start getting on social media and everything like that, and transcribing word for word what you're hearing, and specific details and things like that, yeah, you come undone real quick. The other thing in regards to the encrypted talk groups on the MMR network for Ambulance Victoria, now you have to remember that the MMR network is predominantly Melbourne metropolitan, Greater Geelong based and stuff like that. So I've had people sitting there saying to me, "Oh, I'm still hearing voice traffic on Ambulance Victoria. Nah, you're wrong. You don't know what you're talking about." That's fine. I'm sure you're hearing something, but the reality is, there's only one or two talk groups that are probably coming across unencrypted on the AV network at the moment for the MMR, and that's basically one console that's transmitting in the clear. 99% of the road cars that it's talking to and conversing with is carrying encrypted communications over their radios. So you're only really hearing one side of the conversation 99% of the time there. And those two talk groups that I mentioned are actually patched together. So yeah, there are a few other consoles and the odd radio out there that's still unencrypted. I can see them on the system, but 99% of the voice traffic now, folks, it's encrypted. You're not going to hear it for Ambulance Victoria on the MMR network in the metropolitan area. For those of you in the country that are messaging me and saying, no, I can still hear the ambulance and all that, just to expand a little bit, especially if you're going to have a dig at me, where are you monitoring from? Is it rural traffic or is it metropolitan traffic? If it's metropolitan traffic, like I said, 99% of it's encrypted. If it's rural traffic, I am certain you are still hearing rural voice traffic unencrypted. Why? Because it's a totally separate network at the moment, okay, and it's a network that's not encrypted. But mind you, Ambulance Victoria have plans to move to a new network, that being the RMR network, which is just like the MMR network, only it's based on VHF and it's for rural operations, and it's also what the Victoria Police now use in the country areas. So those of you that are sitting there saying to me, no, I'm still hearing traffic up in Ballarat or Timbuktu or up on the wherever in rural country Victoria, I don't doubt you. But that is for rural AV operations. Okay, we're talking about metropolitan operations for the MMR network and Ambulance Victoria. They're encrypted. 99% of their traffic is now encrypted. So yeah, look, just in regards to all this monitoring and information and stuff like that, I know that we obviously share information on our site. There is some information I don't share. There's good reason for that. I've always been very selective about the information that I share, because if you draw too much attention to it and you go into the details that some people go into, again, that brings you undone real quick. Okay, happy to provide information with people so they can have a listen and enjoy the hobby, but like you'll notice that for a lot of the commercial trunking systems that we have information on the site, we don't generally share all the talk groups and so forth, because nowadays, with the way the software is, it's simply the tick of a box and everybody's got advanced privacy or encryption across their talk groups. Okay, so happy to provide the basics for people to be able to listen. There's information that we hold back on, or something that I certainly hold back on from time to time. Some people might think that's a little bit unfair, but it's because history tells me sometimes if you give some people too much information, um, it can be a little bit dangerous in the wrong people's hands. Okay, so yeah, look, it's not the end of the world. It's not the end of the hobby with encryption across emergency services organisations' radio systems. You still do have some other ESOs out there that have unencrypted communications. Um, be responsible in monitoring it and how you or who you share and how you share that information. Again, like I said, you start going detail word for word, and specifics of jobs and everything like that. Eventually, it's just going to everything's going to happen a lot sooner than it has to. So yeah. All right, folks. Like I said, it's not the end of the world. If you're a true hobbyist, you're going to find something else, some other aspect of the hobby to make you happy and enjoy it and explore a little bit and maybe get to understand a couple of things, okay? Just also in regards to all the AV traffic, just to show people, I've been running Pro 96com, which has been scrolling through in the background, and monitoring the MMR network. Basically, you know what radios affiliate and who doesn't affiliate and what have you, and active talk groups. Now, if I come down to all my Victoria Police talk groups, you're going to see across here in the second column, group call, ENC there, that says it's encrypted, okay? So each line here is a transmission that's taken place, and it's all encrypted comms, okay? Now, if I scroll a little bit further down, I can see, okay, the MFB, we know at the moment, they're unencrypted, okay? But remember, they've just rolled out their new radios. Could be going encrypted. That's what the word is. Whether it happens, whether this whole Fire Rescue Victoria and dissolving the MFB and the new entity of Fire Rescue Victoria and then the CFA paid stations or career staff stations joining Fire Rescue Victoria and all that, I don't know if they could have some sort of delay to it if they are going to be going to encryption. But at the moment, you can see they're all unencrypted. Come down to Ambulance Victoria again. So looking at channel 103, which was the West channel, encrypted. All these transmissions are encrypted. Come down to the East, channel 102 East, all encrypted comms. North, all encrypted. Scroll a little bit further down. See what else we can see. Obviously, the North's been a busy channel. A bit further down, all the DTM channels, it's all encrypted, folks. Okay. I know some of the Netcom stuff has been unencrypted. Again, I know that's because of one particular console. Well, there might be another console out there as well, and I am aware of another console that's carrying unencrypted comms. But like I said, 99% of the road traffic and the portables and the road cars out there are carrying the encrypted capable radios. So yeah, it's those people sitting there saying they're still hearing it. You're hearing probably a tiny aspect of what you used to be able to hear before the 11th of July. Okay, we've noticed over the last couple of months as the new radios from Ambulance Victoria get rolled out, encryption was becoming more and more prevalent for Ambulance Victoria on their talk groups. Okay, and bang, here it is. All right, folks. Till next time. Sorry for the rather crude video. I just really wanted to get a few things off my chest in regards to people saying to me, "Oh no, I'm hearing Ambulance Victoria traffic," and some of the doom and gloom. So I've just quickly made this very crude video off a webcam, hence the poor audio. Apologies for that, but I think I've got my message across. Hopefully some of you aren't sobbing and picking yourself up off the floor and thinking it's the end of the world. It's not. And look, and frankly, if you think this really is the end of scanning, you've probably been missing out on a lot of other facets of the industry, of the hobby for a long time now. Okay. All right, folks. Until next time, happy scanning and stay safe.